Thank you. I would love to be posiliquent. However, I have to talk for 5 to 7 minutes, so I cannot. Providing high-touch service, and before you get the wrong idea and start thinking that you can have an erotic experience in the library, I want to explain that I'm talking about emotional touch. That providing that kind of service in a military environment, when some people come into the library, they are, especially on a military installation, they are interacting with people who cannot affect their career, who cannot make them do push-ups, who cannot require them to do lots of things that everyone else can require them to do. My first experience at a military base was in Turkey at a small base called Diogenes Station. It was a national, an NSA base, National Security Agency base. And it was talking 12 hours by bus from the nearest big city. Very isolated. The only way to get there was by bus, except in the summer when you could actually take a ship through the Black Sea down down to Istanbul. It was a 24-hour ride by boat. Very nice boat, but they didn't run them in the winter because they had no heat on the boats. So it was an isolated place and people were under a great deal of pressure. Now, I didn't realize how much pressure until there was a visiting general who, they had a big party for the visiting general, and it was just after, this was in 1989, so it was just after the really, really funny movie about dancing, Dirty Dancing, you remember that movie? Mm-hmm. Well, one of the sergeants managed to do it. He and this girl, they just started doing it, and they did a really good, and everyone was clapping and applauding, and it was quite a triumph that he did this incredible thing. Well, the next morning, the general called him in and dressed him down and practically court-martialed him for this disgusting display. Because the general had never seen this movie, never heard of this kind of dancing, and thought it was repulsive and obscene. Well, it started to be clear to me that these people in the military were under a great deal of pressure. So when they came into the library, it was a time out for them. And they could talk to us, to the staff, about almost anything, ask questions, and we didn't judge them. Now, I know that most people think that all librarians do is check books in and out. They think that the library that's all we do. So I guess they think the books purchase themselves, choose themselves, throw themselves into the building, throw themselves onto the shelf in some sort of order. And we've actually had people tell me that they thought I should put the books in subject order, like Barnes & Noble. Well, that threw me a bit, especially since these were actual library patrons that had been in the library more than once. But of course, you try and explain to the people that we do have the books in subject order, but we discovered that the Dewey Decimal numbers mean nothing to people anymore, so we have to put up signs that say cookbooks, etc. Books on business, that kind of thing. So we try to do that. But we also have to realize that in a military environment, we are a safe zone. And people that come in and ask us questions appreciate the kind of quiet, unassuming conversation. They appreciate being able to talk to us. And we do get occasionally people that come in and they try to be entertaining. They entertain us. And they, oops, here I am, umming. They speak sometimes at length. Now, I've worked in many different kinds of libraries all over the world. And I think it's hilariously funny that you always find the library staff, when they see somebody, oh my God, there they are, I've got to run over here and hide. The patron has just made themselves maddening because they shared too much, because they talk too long. And so that particular staff person is like, oh my God, I can't stand this, I've got to go. And they run away and hide. We try to be understanding, we try to be clear, but sometimes you go too far in that one direction and you encourage the person to use you as a therapist, which is of course not our role in life. And we are trying simply to fulfill your information needs. So we have to figure out, it's kind of a mind reading thing. We have to try and figure out what kind of information do they need? What should we purchase? What databases should we subscribe to? What books should we purchase for the library? What journals should we get? And then once we have purchased them, how long should we keep them? Do we wait until they fall apart, or do we make sure that we don't have a book in the library that says it's not possible to go to the moon? We have to do the other side. We have to weed the books. Now, most people, if you say that you're going to discard things, they go, oh, they get all upset. But someone could still use those books. Well, not necessarily true, but it's almost as though you have to discard them under cover of darkness. You have to take the books out of the library. People don't understand that discarding or getting rid of things is the same process as purchasing things. It's called acquisitions in a library environment. And it's very, very difficult to deliver this kind of service when most people have no clue that we're doing any of these things. So it's a challenging experience, and it's especially challenging to provide this kind of service in a military environment when everyone is judging you on how efficiently you do everything. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about and just give you some idea of what goes on in the library. Thank you.